Homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. The question that's been asked is, I've heard there are different types of stream entries. Can you explain what they are? There are a number of suttas that look into the types of noble beings, and one of them is this Dutiyasikkhā Sutta, which we've come across before when we've looked at higher virtue, higher mind, and higher wisdom as a form of training. And this sutta is in Ugghaṭitaññū, so the numerical discourses, chapter 3, discourse number 87. And it goes on to reference the different types of stream enterer. And what it says is, with the ending of 3 fetters, they have at most 7 rebirths, satakatu paramang. They will transmigrate at most 7 times amongst gods and humans and then make an end of suffering. So this is the one we most often hear about, that maximum of 7 rebirths. Then it goes on to say, with the ending of 3 fetters, they go from family to family, kolankolo. They will transmigrate between 2 or 3 families and then make an end of suffering. And then the third one is, with the ending of 3 fetters, there are 1 seeder, ekabiji. They will be reborn just 1 time in a human existence, then make an end of suffering. So the question that normally comes up after this is, why are there these different 3? What's the reason behind the distinction between the 3 types? And the answer is really around one's spiritual faculties, whether they're sharp or they're blunt. And the other reason could be the type of understanding that one has. So if you understand quickly, or if you understand through some further elaboration, like an explanation, or whether you need to be guided in order to understand. A good sutta to look at to elaborate a little bit more on weak or strong spiritual faculties, these indriyas, is the Vitthāra Sutta. And if you remember, this is the sutta that looks at the different modes of practice and whether you realize in a slow way or in a quick way. And part of the determining factor is whether you have weak spiritual faculties, like they're blunt, or whether you have sharp spiritual faculties, that means they manifest quite strongly. So this sutta actually says, when these 5 faculties manifest in them weakly, and so the spiritual faculties are faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, then you only slowly attain the conditions for ending of the defilements in this present life. And secondly, it talks about whether the faculties manifest strongly, and if so, then you swiftly attain the conditions for the ending of defilements in this life. And in that way, that's the distinction between, even if you look at stream entry in the different types, whether you have weak or strong faculties, so blunt or sharp faculties, that does make a difference in why one would be one of those different types of stream enterers. If we go to the Ugghaṭitaññū Sutta, then we find Buddha's statement on the different types of people found in the world based on understanding. The first one that he states is one who understands quickly, which is this Ugghaṭitaññū. The second is one who understands through elaboration, which is Vipaññcitaññū. And the third is one who needs to be guided, which is Neo. And lastly, one for whom the word is the maximum. So to understand each of them, one who understands quickly is someone who hears a statement of the Buddha and almost like immediately penetrates the Dhamma. The second one is one who understands through elaboration. That's more like they hear an utterance, but they need some explanation, and from that explanation they understand. And then the third one is one who needs to be guided. And so this is more of a gradual process through hearing the Dhamma, instruction, maybe even questioning, some yoniso manasikara, so some wise attention, and then reliance on good friends, so sappurusas and kalyanamitas. And then the last one is one for whom the word is the maximum. That's meant to say that you could hear a lot and you could recite a lot, you could retain and all those sorts of things, but you don't reach the breakthrough of the Dhamma. So it's more like you've learned, memorized certain things, but you don't necessarily penetrate the Dhamma. So these are the 4 kinds. And I think the first 3 are the ones that, in relation to the different types of stream entra, it's most important, that you can either understand quickly, or you need a little bit more elaboration, or you need to be guided, and then you one of those 3 types of stream entras. If we go now to the Petikopadesa or Pitika disclosure, and this is the work that was attributed to the school of Venerable Mahāgacchāna, it draws a link between understanding and stream entry realization. So it says, herein the person who understands quickly, so this is the Ugghaṭitaññū, with sharp or blunt faculties, when steadied on the plane of seeing, which is the path of stream entry, one reaches the fruit of stream entry, one is a one-seeder stream entra. So when you have, whether they're sharp or blunt faculties, but you understand quickly, then you only have one more human rebirth as a stream entra. The second one it talks about is the person who understands through elaboration, with sharp or blunt faculties, when steadied on the plane of seeing, one reaches the fruit of stream entry, one is a family-to-family stream entra. So this is the type of understanding where you need not just one statement of the Buddha, you actually need some explanation. And then the third one is, herein the person who needs to be guided, so neo, with sharp or blunt faculties, when steadied on the plane of seeing, one reaches the fruit of stream entry, one is at most 7 rebirths. So neo, where you need to be guided, means you need some sort of instruction, some training, being able to ask questions, that sort of thing. This is most likely where most of us are at in terms of our understanding. We need guidance. We need to hear more of the Buddha's words and then be guided in how to follow the method of instruction of the Buddha, and to be able to ask questions and then train and practice accordingly. But the way you understand the other ones is, for example, Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Mahamoggallana, they heard a statement. So in Venerable Sariputta's case, he heard a statement and then he was able to quickly understand and enter the stream. And then Venerable Mahamoggallana is the same. He heard it from Venerable Sariputta, who I believe at the time was a stream entra, hadn't fully awakened, but then he was able to understand quite quickly just from Venerable Sariputta repeating the words of the Buddha without any elaboration. So you can see they had this Ugghaṭitaññū understanding. And for the rest of us, given where we're at over 2,500 years after the Buddha, then it makes sense that it's not so easy for us. But at the same time, if we seek guidance, then we can actually both enter the stream and develop further. So it's good to actually know some of these terms and to broaden our understanding of how the Buddha references even spiritual faculties, whether they're sharp or blunt, and how we can develop from there. And that's the other thing about spiritual faculties. These are the things we can sharpen every time we meditate, every time we learn something more about the Buddha's teaching. That's how we sharpen, the sense of these spiritual faculties, convictional faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom. They're very important because they contribute to entering the stream. They contribute to the development of the rest of the path towards Nibbana. So we can share the merit with all sentient beings. May all beings be happy and well. May all beings be free from suffering. Blessings of the Triple Gem. Wishing you all well. Teruan Saranai.